Hi, hello. Welcome to the episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is August the 19th, 2026. Hopefully, this episode finds you well, in good spirits and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. Happy Wednesday, happy hump day. Hopefully you humped and didn't get humped. Unless that's what you're into, then by all means, have at it. My day was good. It was forward motion. Let's see. We woke up, we got up. Overall, I slept pretty well. Got myself together. We got to work. There really wasn't much work at the start of the day, which honestly, given how busy it was, over the past week or so, I'm glad that we were kind of, getting back on track, even though apparently the crusher hadn't been swapped out yet. But that being said, hey, didn't really matter. They did come and get it swapped out. We were A-okay. I got to pretty much stay at the crusher for most of the day. I did cut down some boxes upstairs to kind of help out. Apparently they've been having issues with people cutting boxes down, which there's kind of a bit of a trend to that. Like when we're backed up, there's this almost hoarding, not hoarding mentality, but they don't want to cut to add more skids, yada, yada, yada. Or people then start to take advantage of that upstairs because they don't want to have to cut down boxes when they're doing restock. It's a whole fucking thing. But hey, maybe that's just me doing too much psychoanalysis at work, whatever. But yeah, stayed at the crusher for most of the day. Work was good. It was a good treat day because it was Taste of My Warehouse. So yeah, it's a special day where they just essentially cater in a bunch of foods that are from all kinds of walks of life, diverse cultures all over. It's food from all over, from people who work in the warehouse essentially, in terms of it's food from your country, it's food from your country. Yeah, we're all coming together, making a tapestry kind of shit. Overall, this was a good run. It was a good, good food event. I will say though, I did have the ability to scam and get another order, and I didn't. I didn't do another run because it wasn't that good. That being said, I mean, can I list off everything? And I don't have a picture of it in front of me, so no. I'll just kind of do a rundown of it was a slew of noodles, various arrays of rice. I think there was two kinds of lamb that I ate, which was kind of nice. I got a good old piece of chicken. Got a nice chorizo taco with all kinds of fixings on it. Lasagna. That I will say I skipped on the veggie lasagna. I'm pretty keen on that. It's got to be from homies I trust. Family, friends type shit. I'm not trying to get a random ass veggie lasagna. No, thank you. I did also miss, there was a salad egg thing at the very end, but my plate was packed to the gills and then some. I had shit on top of shit. I had macaroni in places I didn't know you could put it. No, so I just missed that, skipped that, whatever. I don't think I missed much there. Like I said, there was macaroni all through the bit. There was a samosa, 2 egg rolls. Like I said, there's a whole menagerie of food on a plate. I've gone through the rundown of this shit before. Very similar. It was pretty good. I wolfed it all down, Scooby-Doo style. Less than 30 minutes. We love to see it. But yeah, I kind of had a food coma to the point of on my next break, I got a energy drink, full sugar. I'm you know what? I'm running it. I need it. I don't care. And it kind of stabilized me a little bit. I felt a little bit better. But I was still pretty tired. Also full of food still. So I made a stop at the house. Kind of got a little lazy. Hopped on the game a little bit. But I was okay, we've hung out, we've used the facilities, we've had our little constitution. Let's go ahead and go work out. Let's get back on plan. Let's get back on track. So we got to the gym and it was weirdly busier than I feel it should have been for a Wednesday, but hey, so it goes. We got in there. I was trying to come in there with the intent of doing back and shoulders, or at least kind of have that be the main focus. I did get some shoulder work in that I liked, not as much on the back. I feel the ratio really wasn't right there, but overall, I did some movements. I got sweaty, got a little nasty, and that was that was my time at the planet. So we got in, we got out there. I came home and I skipped the stretch. I know, boo, tomato for me. But overall, it's been a pretty good day. Also, bit of book corner. I have started a new book. This is called Hooked by Asako Yuzuki. They also made Butter, which that Butter might have been my book for the year. Like that might have been like the book that I really enjoyed reading the most. Memory Police is also up there. I think that's like a strong number 2 for me. But yeah, Butter was good. And this book feels a lot like that. Like it feels like this is almost like in the same world, or like they just kind of reskinned a lot of the characters, and I don't know. I enjoy it so far. But I'm only on like chapter 4. So hey, who knows? But yeah, I'm digging that. That's what I'm reading. But yeah, let's go ahead and do our startup and let's get into some news. Oh, I guess this is random corrections. This harkens back to, I think, a few days ago where I did the episode where I talked about the USS Abraham Lincoln situation. I know towards the end of that thought, I had said something about like kind of, I was like paraphrasing, quoting Hegseth, where he was kind of like, I was saying like, oh, it seems like he is coming to the idea, or at least admitting to the fact that there's a bit of a problem. I ran that shit back and like heard like actual footage from like, listening to him like talk about the shit, and then Trump as well. Nah, they were not copying to that shit at all. They were pretty adamant that like whatever these families are saying, like they're faking it. They're lying. And it's like, damn. That's fucked up. So I don't know where my head was at with that, but I put a little correction on there, and hey, for the record, on the audio, I fucked up. Anyway, but hey, you'd like to think that they're going to give a modicum of respect, especially to the people in military, especially the people serving. They're like, nah, we're not going to do that. You guys are on some pussy shit. You're on some woke shit. It's like, no, they've been on a ship for like 9 months or some shit. Like they need to actually have real food, go home. You need to rotate them the fuck out. But yeah, that's an ongoing thing. But yeah, a little bit of a light correction there. Anywho, let's go ahead and get to the main episode from the BBC. Ecuador intelligence chief and 5 Americans killed in Kenya helicopter crash. Ecuador's intelligence chief and his wife have been killed in a helicopter crash in Kenya. Michel Sensi Kantugi and his wife Stephanie Holohan were among the 7 people killed when the accident happened in Samburu County at approximately 9:13 on Wednesday. The other 5 victims were Americans, a U.S. State Department spokesperson said. The Kenya Civil Aviation Authority, or the KCAA, said the helicopter was on a scenic flight from a wildlife conservancy in Loisaba to Iwaso Nyiro, a river that flows along several national reserves. Samburu County is a popular tourist destination with many private wildlife conservancies. I don't know why I'm having a problem saying that. And is renowned for its stunning landscape. Images from the scene show smoke at a wooded crash site on Mount local Quay, as members of the Kenya Red Cross approach the still burning wreckage. Ecuador has not given details about the death of Sensi Kantugi, 44, who was named Director General of Strategic Intelligence Center in 2024. The president's office led tributes on behalf of the government to express sadness over the death of the intelligence chief. Let's see, I'm skipping a little bit here. According to a memo seen by BBC's U.S. partner CBS News, one of the Americans killed in the crash was NBC Universal journalist Jose Alberto Suarez. In the memo, NBC Universal called Suarez a deeply respected leader and beloved friend and colleague. Let's see. The 4 other American victims have not yet been identified. Earlier reports have suggested 7 people, 6 tourists, and a pilot were killed in the crash. Helicopter crashes are not uncommon in Kenya, which I feel like you don't ever want to hear that about your region, about your area. But granted, I have this long-standing beef with helicopters. If you know, you know. So yeah, it obviously is a very unfortunate situation. To hear about people losing their lives in this way, especially when you're literally just trying to take in the sights. So obviously, condolences. But yeah, let's go ahead and move on to our next story. I for one, think this story is good news. Dare I say great news, but hey, I'm trying to be optimistic these days. From The Guardian. Democratic Socialist Angie Nixon scores surprise win in Florida U.S. Senate primary. In an upset for the Democratic establishment, progressive Angie Nixon won the party's U.S. Senate primary in Florida, beating former Army intelligence officer Alexander Vindman. Nixon, a state representative and member of the Democratic Socialists of America, had significantly less funding going into the primary, with $975,000 to Vindman's $16.3 million at the end of July, according to Florida Politics. That's crazy. And I feel like this is a pattern that we are seeing again and again, whether these races are close wins, close losses, whatever, though, granted, in this situation, we're about to talk about how she won by a clear margin. But the gap in the money spending is very telling. And yet again, it's a classic, especially since the Kamala Harris situation, where we see so much money poured into this candidate, but yet where is it going? Like, what is happening with this money? It seems like you're just lighting a fire on it, and then once again, like, what? You're gonna be brat about it? Hey, that was a different time. Now we're just saying, like, hey, we're sensible, we're not Trump. All right, we got this, okay? We're not getting too crazy. But, like, you're spending all this money to do that, I feel, in a lot of these situations. And once again, people don't want to hear this milquetoast, middle-of-the-road, like, bullshit sell. They know that's not going to get them anywhere. Conservatives can always offer them something better, at least on paper, or at least, in words. And it's like, you're not even giving us that. It's like, that's nothing. So it's nice that people are responding to, what Nixon is trying to put out here, which I'm happy to hear. Let's see. Happy to see. Whatever. Anyway, Nixon, a state representative, and I already read that, didn't I? Whoopsie. But she won by a clear margin. Nixon received 56.1% of the vote, according to the Associated Press, ahead of Vindman's 43.9%. Vindman served on the National Security Council in Donald Trump's first term and became a well-known whistleblower and witness in the U.S. president's first impeachment, centered on Trump pressuring Volodymyr Zelensky, Ukraine president, to investigate Joe Biden in, a perfect phone call situation, which I believe Trump has called him a traitorous creep. So that's a ringing endorsement, for Democrats. Like, okay, Trump doesn't like this guy, so I'm supposed to like this guy. But yeah, it definitely seemed like this was like a middle of the road pick. This guy didn't even want to debate Nixon because he felt like, my sights are set more on, Ashley Moody, Republican Ashley Moody. We're going to beat her. That's my main issue, which it's kind of been a motif. We've seen that in Michigan, where it's like, okay, we get it that you're very focused, but at the end of the day, you need to sell it to me, the person who's going to vote for you. And if the person on the other end, Nixon, saying, hey, I'm down, I'm ready to debate you, we should talk about these kind of things. And I'm going to beat Moody, when the actual fucking shit hits, when we actually get to the midterms. So at the end of the day here, the fact that you're not even going to show up to actually, fight for it, actually talk about this shit, it's very telling to me. Let's see here. But yeah, it is going to be, I think, an upsell or an uphill battle, maybe. I don't know. I'm not really hip to the situation, but at the end of the day, I think winning in, I don't know. Because maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong, and Florida is more blue than I'd like to give it credit for. But this is where Ron DeSantis, has made his fiefdom. And, Moody is going to be the next heir apparent, I guess. Like, essentially, she's getting the wave in for this. So I don't know. It will be steep competition in that regard, but obviously I'm going to be rooting for Nixon. That's a weird thing to keep saying, by the way. That's a weird kind of twist of fate. Hey, I'm just glad it's not the same one. It's not the Tricky Dick situation. Let's see here. I feel like we covered this Isaiah's way. Obviously, there's details here. I was supposed to read through all of this, but like this feels covered. We obviously are going to come back to it. There's a bit of other stuff that's not Nixon Vidman related. Let's see here. But establishment Democrats prevailed in other Florida races this week. In the first election in the state after redistricting, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, an 11-term congresswoman and former chair of the Democratic National Committee, defeated Elijah Manley, a 27-year-old substitute teacher who was endorsed by a progressive group. Wasserman Schultz had faced criticisms for running in a district that has a plurality of black voters and has long been represented by a black Democrat. Wasserman Schultz's previous district was broken up by Republicans, gerrymandered congressional maps, and she chose not to run in the district where she lives, but a newly drawn one that was solidly blue. So it's like, okay, that's great. Awesome. Jared Moskowitz, a 2-term congressman and centrist Democrat, defeated a Democratic Socialist challenger, running in a new coastal seat extending from Delray Beach to Miami Beach. Moskowitz was up against Oliver Larkin, a 34-year-old who called for universal health care and free tuition at public universities and has supported abolishing Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE. I love this. Moskowitz was the first congressional Democrat to back Trump's Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, initiative, which is crazy to hear this on the resume and be like, oh yeah, I still want to vote for that guy. Like, that to me would be disgusting. Like, I wouldn't want that accolade on my fucking jacket, but here we go. Which dismantled the U.S. Agency for International Development. Moskowitz also faced criticism from Larkin over his support for a Republican-backed law that expanded ICE's detention authority. The centrist congressman has also been a staunch supporter of Israel and voted against a resolution to redistrict U.S. military involvement in Iran. So yeah, I mean, this kind of shows that this battle for who is actually going to control the narrative in the Democratic Party is still raging on. As we inch closer to the midterms, I don't know. I'm happy to at least, the mainline header here of Nixon winning is great, but it still kind of goes to show that there is this back and forth. I know the situation with Hong was different, with El Sayed was different, but like, I don't know. It's overall something I'm choosing to be positive. I'm trying to be optimistic in these dark days. And I think people coming out and overall saying like, hey, we really want to hear what both sides of the party are saying here. We don't just want to say, oh, we want to go for something safe to beat Donald Trump. I think that is a good thing. And you're seeing it in lieu of all the money and effort gone up to stop this overall leftist side, saying, hey, we want to suppress it as much as we can. We're doing like Bernie 2016 style shit, but it doesn't seem to be working as well, which I'm happy to see. But as we, actually get to the midterm, we will see how this shit, plays out. Fingers crossed, knock on wood. All right. We have one more story that I wanted to yap about. This really isn't like, main shit. Is it really super important? No, but like, the name Natalie Harp has been making the rounds, on the news feed. Who is she? What is she about? Why is she hiding out in a fucking trunk for Donald Trump? You know what I mean? So it's like she's just doing crazy shit. And I think in a stage where we don't have like a Caroline Leavitt, we don't have a Pam Bondi, I think a Natalie Harp is filling the void, is taking the spotlight, I guess, quite nicely, you could say. I don't know. I'm going to have fun yapping about this one. So yeah, let's go ahead and take our last break and we will close it out. All right, we're mainly going to be reading from CNN, but I might hop over to this article from Time, Time magazine as well. But I'll read both headlines. Meet Natalie Harp, the aide so close to Trump, she once rode in an SUV trunk to accompany him. And then the one from Time, what to know about Trump's aide Natalie Harp. So she's making like a lot of the new, I wouldn't say she's making, a lot of news outlets are talking about her. Like, who is she? What is she about? Why is she so devoted? Why is she in every room with him? Oh my God. Why did she get on the plane and not everyone else? Crazy. So, it's kind of, I guess, a slow week kind of vibe. But anyway, let's dive in. Nellie Harp wouldn't take no for an answer. It was October 2023, and Donald Trump was due at a New York City courthouse to fight his latest set of legal troubles. But as his motorcade idled outside his Trump Tower residence, staffers confronted a more immediate problem. There was no room for Harp, the hyper loyal aide whose devotion to Trump had quickly entrenched her within his orbit. A screaming match in the lobby ensued, with Harp insisting that Trump had personally asked her to attend the court appearance. I need her. I need my Harp. Like, bro. Like, and I also like this too, that there are levels of sensibility within his like cabal of A's that are like, dude, we don't have fucking time for this. Girl, like, go away. Like, you were being weird again. And then she's like, I'm insisting. He needs me. And it's like, this is not Game of Thrones, but for her, this is everything. Two sources familiar with the matter told CNN. Denied a seat but determined not to be left behind, Harp jumped into an SUV trunk, according to two sources and confirmed by a photo obtained by CNN. They're like, we're flicking this shit. The episode, which had not been previously reported, served as an encapsulation of the role Harp had carved out in recent years as a constant and intensely dedicated presence at Trump's side. Her methods have irked senior aides and at times prompted efforts to box her out of the president's inner circle, according to multiple sources who described the dynamic to CNN. A former right-wing television host who began working for Trump after crediting him with saving her life, Harp has become a main conduit between the president and the outside world, passing along messages from allies and setting up meetings, tapping out true social posts and toting printouts of laudatory articles, all while staying in close physical proximity at all hours of the day. Which I think I kind of wanted to pull from this Time article here. Let me go ahead and skip ahead here. In 2019, Hart went on Fox News and thanked Trump for signing the right to try law the year before. She told the network that she had stage 2 bone cancer, which that's fucking intense, and that the new law allowed her to access experimental treatments, which she said saved her life. After hearing her recount her experience, Trump asked her to give a speech at the 2020 Republican National Convention, according to the New York Times. When I failed the chemotherapies that were on the market, no one wanted me in their clinical trials, she said at an event. She said at the event. They didn't give me the right to try experimental treatments. Mr. President, you did, and without you, I'd have died waiting for them to be approved. So that's been the fucking, like, overall, like, okay, this has been her story and she's sticking to it. And like, you hear some shit like that and you can understand, like, like that would feel like a religious fucking experience. I could understand wanting to back a guy like Donald Trump to the hill if this happened to you specifically, right? Not, saying like, okay, you're probably leading on to say and be, saying crazy shit and doing all this. But if this happened to you, I could get that. That's a very crazy anecdotal experience. But after the convention, the Washington Post reported that the medical experts cast doubt on Harp's claims. Harp has said that she was treated with an FDA-approved immunotherapy drug for an unapproved use. And experts said the federal legislation that Trump signed in 2018 wouldn't have made that drug accessible to Harp because the medication had already been approved. So it sounded like she just kind of added some mythos to the story, kind of made it so like, how can I make Trump a part of it? And she found a way, and she made it like, yeah, like I got this magical super treatment. That's like, girl, you just got the treatment you were supposed to get, and you're good now. Medicine saved you, modern technology saved you. Our shitty fucking healthcare really didn't, but like, hey, you got there. We got you across the finish. Like, no, Donald Trump did that shit, and I'm riding till I die with him. Also, later on in this article, I think there's like a strange brother or some shit that goes on to say, yeah, she really has this thing with presidents. Like, she sent a bunch of letters, I think, to Donald Trump Very like just like saying how much she like really like loved and da 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 like. And also, Donald Trump's not the only one. Apparently, George W. George W. got some impassioned letters from a Natalie Harp. And I'm not trying to imbue any kind of like sexual connotation or whatever, but it seems like the goal was I want to like, I feel like there's no other word I really can use here. Serve the president, a great man, and I want to be a part of that. I want to be a cog in that machine. Like, so she's gonna get there. She's gonna have it. So anyway, let's get back to the CNN article. Harp's relationship with Trump came under fresh scrutiny this week after Democratic Senator John Ossoff mentioned her by name in a now viral speech attacking Trump. The Georgia senator swiped a president's travel with Natalie on their apparently defenseless flying palace gifted by the Emir of Qatar, a reference to her joining the president along with a very limited group when he secretly boarded a smaller aircraft to leave Turkey due to a threat from Iran in July. So she and Pete Hegseth were one of the notables who got on the plane with Trump when they did the whole switcheroo situation. And other motherfuckers were stuck on the decoy plane that could have taken a hot one. Once again, I do think we're kind of making a lot of hay about this kind of shit, but it's still fucking weird. It's still awkward. That like, hey, these are the people I wanted to make it with me. The rest of you guys, you could have died. You journalists or whatever. Oopsie, whatever. But like, and I'm pretty sure Marco Rubio didn't make the cut. So like, that's awkward. It's like, oh shit. I'd sweat a little bit too, I guess. But anyway, people have been kind of digging into Ossoff from the Trump administration, from like directly from the White House. The comment spurred outrage from the White House, which repeatedly labeled Ossoff as a cringeworthy feminine theater kid. Dude, my thing is the woke one has reached the White House because couldn't you just say gay? You could just say it, right? You guys have won the war. You've won the war on woke. Why not say all those words that you wanted to say and you're saying on your fucking Signal chats? Right? Like, it's maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm the true monster here. But it's like, why are you using all this extra verbiage and then a lightweight loser, as well as a rampant attention, rampant attention online, whatever. Harp's rapid rise within the Trump world has stood out in large part because of the intensity of her dedication to the president since joining his staff in 2022. Despite having no formal title on Trump's re-election campaign, Harp trailed him across the country, feeding him positive stories, social media posts, and other correspondence so frequently that allies dubbed her the human printer. I would not like that nickname. Hey, human printer, you want anything? I'm on a Starbucks order. You need anything? All right, I got you. I don't know. That's what a world, I guess. What a position. What a title. Illustrating how she become indispensable to Trump, one Republican lawmaker noted that while they occasionally reach out to the president directly, they always make sure Harp is aware. She always responds. I don't know how she manages it all, the source said, adding that in addition to relaying messages to Trump, Harp often personally sends lawmakers articles or notes on the president's behalf. Ooh, that would piss me off. That pisses me off so fucking much. Especially when you know you're a Viper just like Harp is. Like, you guys are all playing the same fucking game here. The same palace intrigue is happening and you're all crabs in a bucket. And like, it's almost like she's lording this over you, sending you this shit. And it's like, it doesn't matter whether he thinks it or not. We all know that this guy is just a fucking meat puppet in a shit suit with a diaper. We don't, like, shut up. Don't send me this shit. I'd be so mad. Whether he thinks this, you think this, or you both think this, get off my line. I'd be so mad. Since following him to the White House, multiple sources said Harp has been omnipresent. In videos of the Oval Office signings and events reviewed by CNN, Harp can often be spotted on the outskirts of the room, smiling or nodding along with the president as he speaks. She is frequently one of a smaller coterie of aides beside Trump as he travels to rallies. Natalie is so fast. Trump has mused to allies after asking her, let me run that back. Trump has mused to allies after asking her to find or print something for him. Like, I guess this is like, it's like, that's his like Jamie, if we're thinking like Joe Rogan experience. Like, that's his like producer, like handler, helper. Like, hey, I need you to find this thing on the fly. And in that regard, I think everyone needs an Ally Harp. Okay, I would love to have someone to help me find a thing, and I don't even have to lift my phone to Google that shit. They're already on it. So that kind of loyalty, that does mean something. Okay, that transcends ideology. All right, that is kind of dope. That's a nice bond, I guess, have with a motherfucker that you guys are that locked in. Like, thank you, twin. Cool. The ubiquity sometimes ruffles feathers within the White House, especially for some Trump advisors who at times have wanted to speak privately to the president. It's like, yeah, I would like to manipulate this man. Get out of here. And she's like, I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to be right here for it. Like, no. You're the human printer. Get out of here. Where's the plot? I'd be so mad. Let's see. Only to find Harp sitting in on the meeting as well. One of the sources familiar with the dynamic told CNN. The 35-year-old is also territorial about Trump and has told others that she only reports to him, irritating other staffers who work within the White House's chain of command, another source said. One White House official downplayed these complaints, insisting that Harp works well with most of her colleagues, collaborating on statements and flagging relevant information to the right people. Now, this is where I would love to read in. Like I said, I already made that mistake with Hegseth last week. Let me just take these motherfuckers for what they're saying, and and the evidence can prove itself out in the wash. In a statement on Tuesday, White House spokesman Davis Ingle defended Harp as one of the most loyal and hardworking aides on President Trump's team. She works so hard. So yeah, then they go into attacking, Ossoff as well. Some of these, other people who are rallying to defend Harp. They mentioned the potential situation with the Barack Obama, Michelle Obama, their apes in the jungle, that it's very likely that she was the one handling the phone on the Trump post. And it's almost like some of the A's are potentially trying to like point the finger more at her than Donald Trump. But once again, kind of going to like my little pretend little bit there, it doesn't matter whether she sent that to him first or showed it to him and he goes, ooh, I like that. That's so funny. Yes, we should post that. Or she coaxed it out of him, or they both came to the conclusion together. I don't care. It's some folie do shit. Like they're both probably evil, fucked up people to me. I would like to throw tomatoes at both of them. Okay, I would love that splash damage. I don't care. Like boo, both of them. They're both yucky, icky people. Like. So, yuck. So yeah, I mean, that's more or less the end of the profile there. I don't know. If Harp is going to go on to do something defining that actually is newsworthy or not, but I had the time today, so I figured why not yap? Why not do a little deep dive on a motherfucker? But yeah, that's it. That's all I have for today. If you'd like to help out support the effort, I do have a Patreon. Patreon.com/AsiaNews. Become a newsie today. Free ways to hit me up, asianews1@gmail.com. Feel free to follow me or the podcast on any of the socials. Subscribe to the YouTube, follow on TikTok, follow on Spotify, follow on Apple Podcasts, wherever you like to listen. Leave a like, leave a cool comment. Sharing is always caring. All the stars are appreciated on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, wherever they let you do that sort of thing. But if you would like if you'd like to forego that, skip, done, then that's okay. I appreciate you just hanging out with me, ride it out all the way to the end, because you're a completionist, and I love that about you. It really is a lot to know that there's someone out there just, taking this all in, so hell yeah. Thank you. But yeah, thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for being a friend, and hopefully I'll see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.